Good afternoon, everyone. So I thought I'd mix it up today. I thought I'd break down my most recent fight against Dante Fragine. Now, the nature of this fight, before we go into it, get it start playing now, is I was scheduled to fight Tony Lee at featherweight. Take the sound off for that. With Tony Lee at featherweight. And he pulled out a week or so before. I think it was an injury or something. I'm no idea. It's always a bit, I don't know, questionable, a week or so out, but here we are. So that's meant to be at featherweight. And Dante, I think his opponent pulled out as well. So we both had last minute pullouts, option to fight each other at lightweight, both going up a weight. I think he was already scheduled to fight at lightweight. So complete unknown. The camp itself was prepared for just generally me and my weaknesses, my strengths, and making, adjustments and so on and so forth. So it wasn't too opponent specific. So it wasn't really the end of the world having an opponent change. But the build of Tony versus Dante is very different. Dante's a lot taller, a lot longer. So as we go to start now, one thing you'll notice I do is I signal not to touch gloves. So when it comes to people like Mason Jones, people who are quite prominent for not doing that sort of thing, I found when it comes to competition, I get too friendly, a bit too nice. So that is a good little way to make that distinction, to make sure I'm, to fight, I'm not going to be too too safe with it. Especially my last fight, I was a bit too nice with it. So they're stepping things off, not touching gloves, seeing him out, seeing what he's doing. High guard, very cautious. He's in and out. He's got nice movement. I think he stumbles there. I don't think I caught him. A nice tip to the face. Again, it was a bit of an annoying one because, again, in and out, long and rangy. It's a very tricky one to use. Again, trying to close the distance, trying to stay in, not letting him hesitate. So what he just did there, that kind of skip step, I think kick or whatever. CJ Buchanan did that to me in a fight a little while back. And I sort of sat there and let him do it. And then he just went off. Whereas this time, I'm a lot more aggressive to try and chase that down, trying at least not let him know he can get away with it. So the high guard, he's throwing there. Again, I'm seeing the fence there. I've shot in, linked up, felt him there, got a little trip, trying to keep away with my base. And again, trying to not rush, trying to keep control of that firearm there. So we'll just go back a little bit there. So we see the takedown. So head position on the double leg. Head is not too close to the hip in the sense of not round the side, close to a guillotine, facing on. So when I come side on, I'm in a dominant position. Head strong, head's tall. Ideally, either a bit taller under the chin or lower by the hip. But then so I can reap the leg. And now stay in the top position. Where I've got the overwrap, where he's got the overwrap here, my hand's feeding through because he's on his side. I'm trying to trap that firearm, which I managed to get a nice grip on. But you'll see in a minute, he kind of gets this sort of side-on sort of sweep reversal. But because I've still got that control, well, let's go back a little frame. You'll see I've got this 2-on-1 still. So that then stops him being able to complete the sweep to come on top. I then chase up. And he was doing really well to keep the position. Nice cage control. Again, my head pressure's there. I'm kind of trying to weigh on him a little bit. Nothing too specific. This position I'm normally used for just control and feeling out, not to chase a finish, not to rush, not to overexpose myself. So we're here, pushing forward. And I felt him lean a bit too far forward there. So as soon as I got a nice bite, to rip him back. Side control there. Again, not trying to rush. Very long, very framey. Again, very explosive and dynamic. So it's quite hard to control people like that all the time. You never know, you see people like that all the time, sort of bendy, get their guards back all the time. It's a pain in the ass. So he's doing really well, keeping his frames in, and I'm trying to advance, trying to isolate a limb. Get the near side arm elevated. Far side one, kind of threatening an head and arm choke. More just to make some space for the mount transition post or anything else. So I'm here. So just for a bit of perspective, starting this fight, mad adrenaline dump, feeling like I'm lead, going to throw up, felt disgusting. So at this point, as soon as I got him down, I was like, okay, I'm breathing, I'm composed, but good grief, my head is not in a good place. I'm like, okay, let's just not throw up on him. It's going to be on the camera. It's going to be mean. So we have this head and arm kind of position, elbows quite close to the mat, but my there's a big gap there. So it's very early for Dante to defend. The tricky thing with jiu-jitsu opposed to MMA is overcommitting for that isn't as much of a problem in jiu-jitsu because of loose position. I've got my guard and so on and so forth. MMA, I want to stay on top every single time. So controlling the hips, getting the grapevines in. And again, despite losing that head and arm position, still keeping my weight nice and even, not overcommitting with the strikes. Again, the tricky thing now is not creating a scramble, picking up on the head, controlling the arm, picking up the hips. I'm not expecting to finish him straight away. I'm expecting a lot of spazziness, a lot of explosiveness, a lot of lefts and rights, a lot of just flaying the legs and arms around. So it's more just chipping away and waiting for a nice sort of attack. But again, if I'm perfectly honest, a ground and pound here, I'm expecting either to overextend and commit for, I don't know, roll out for the back, or just to sort of, do what he's doing there, just flaying around. Keep position, because it's hard to get dominant, aggressive ground and pound from that kind of low position. You haven't got the weight behind the punches, but again, it's chipping away, staying busy, and ultimately scoring. Because where I'm at there is I could chase a finish and then gas myself out, feeling as sick as I was, and then end up getting stopped. Or I could try to keep position, chip away, and then take a sub if it presents itself. So we're getting close to the end of the round, bit of ground and pound. I'm thinking the bell's gone. Here is a attempt for an armbar, sit through. Kind of extended, I think, an extra 2 or 3 seconds I'd have had that. So back to the corners. I feel I won that round. The takedown was pretty one-dimensional from there. So I got the takedown, back again. And then the following takedown was secure position. No real advantage for Dante. So if we go to the next round. So between rounds, sort of telling me to keep position, stay on the top. He hasn't got anything from in the ground, the usual kind of stuff your corner would say to you, expect. I'd imagine Dante's corner was, I don't know, encouraging him to stay on the feet a lot more, stay a lot more off center. And you'll just see in a minute, throw some nice kicks. So in there, I'm feeling, still quite nauseous, quite sick, but confident, composed. It's not a panic. It's a bit like, okay, cool. It's a bit, wiping a bit of sweat off. I'm one sweaty individual. So start the second round, again, signaling to not touch gloves. You can't really quite see it. Also, you also can't quite see because of the angle of pointing at the fisticuffs logo, like near around here. So we start, first things first. He's long, got his range, get a flinch. Head kick, I think I was just off balance. It wasn't too bad. That one as well, like it kicked me in the face, but I wasn't too bad. So I'm thinking I'm coming forward, a couple of jabs, a couple of feints. That shot was kind of a, I don't know, it wasn't a, let's go back a second. With that double leg shot, let's go back a couple more frames. I'm tired. I'm seeing a lot of kicks. I'm thinking, okay, the sooner I can get a bite. So we're just there. That initial hook got a bite. Now he's stepping towards where my shot is. But I think I went a bit too late. Because if I went earlier and cut in front of that front knee, we'd end up coming square by the time we engage. Whereas now I'm just past the far hip. It's now spinning. I'm trying to establish a half guard. Because as much as I'm on the bottom now, I'm trying to really engage my hooks, engage my guard, because from the bottom, I'm a very aggressive player normally. So there we are. I've got kind of a modified rubber guard position. It's more just to try to alleviate a bit of space, get a bit of pressure. Because where I've got the bottom hook there, normally I'd be threatening butterfly sweeps. But right now, because he's trying to disengage, it's very hard to keep him there. So as you see, there's a guillotine. So I did keep the guillotine, sweep him over, and get on top. The frame there as well to stop him kicking over. But he's doing a very good job of sort of standing back up, backing out now. So now I'm attacking the triangle. But his posture is sitting back a lot more, doing well to get out of there. First things first now. Establishing grip on the ankles. Trying to get some sort of guard, a bit of De La Riva there. Trying to trip, a bit of Kazushi, nothing too exciting. Now where I'm at here, yes, it's very negative, but in the same vein, up on the first round, dominant in the grappling. Why would I rush to stand back up to then engage? Obviously, it's negative, but if he's going to try to engage out of just panic, optimizing something, again, there's sort of logic behind this, but also fatigued, trying to just catch my breath back a bit, get a bit of recovery. Again, these little leg kicks are nothing really too exciting. They're just a bit of a, whilst you're there, it's just, you engage, that's the way you'd engage. A bit of Wanderlei Silver axe kicking, we never know. Getting frustrated, disengage is the right thing to do, because why would you want to engage right there when you can just get me to stand up by the ref? Hands up, nice overhand right, getting quite a high guard I've got in this fight. This is where it's quite lethargic, sort of running a bit off center, nothing too clean, too pretty, but again, he's just disengaging. And that far back, the old sloppy shot can get away with it. Bit of a groin shot there, nothing too major. Again, just trying to get some rhythm with this. There's a little double leg there. So this is an interesting one here. So this is an old position where I used to find myself getting just stuck, getting stuffed, and just, I don't know, struggling quite a lot to really do a lot with. So in the drills we do at BST, one of the sequences Raymond came out with, and you see it quite a lot. So we're in this double leg position. I'm keeping this. So even there's a nice detail. Let's go back at this frame. The hand positioning. So you'll see people cup the knee like this hand here, a bit sort of shallow, just a bit half-assed. That's what you really want, overwrapping, kind of that monkey grip. Like if you've done like muscle ups, that wrist over the grip, because again, you can really use that to get some purchase. Stepping across to get the half guard sort of dogfight position. So now he can't then transition to the back. He's sort of pinned. I've got the underhook here. He's got the whizzer. So right now it's a very even sort of standard dogfight position. He's got options of Uchimatas to flip me back on myself. I've got options to come up to the back and chase it down. Again, I went from a one-sided position to now an even position. Ideally, I'm trying to drive for a double leg. He stands up really nicely. So now I'm trying to tip him back on himself. He's got a nice base. Turns it to kind of a sort of a floppy kind of sweep, kind of a guard pull. You also got fisticuffs there, just in case you forgot. Right now, it's kind of a scramble. So where we're here, if Dante can get his leg out, he can then come on top, because where his body is now, essentially he'd be on his back. He'd either be on his back here or on his front there in like a half guard. So he's in a tricky position here, and I'm trying to isolate this firearm to keep it even more twisted. So I've got the first hook in. Ideally, should be fighting more for like a twister hook. I get this 2-on-1 here. So that's now stopping him coming on top the same way. I'm squaring up. I step over to either a certain mount, or if he jumps back, I've got a hook. I've got a far side body triangle. So I come up, I use that. Where is it? On that 2-on-1, I use that to pull me up. So as soon as I get that, as soon as his hand goes to the mat, it makes it so much easier for me to stand myself up. So I'm here. There we go, square, and I pull myself up with the body triangle there. Ideally, hold position, a lot more ground and pound. But I'm thinking there's like 30 seconds in the round, so I'm tapping some shots. And last time, look at last ditch armbar, just sort of flew on. So I thought, okay, whilst I'm here, just attack it with a lot more urgency, get a lot more time to really work for it. We've got an ad as well. So whilst this ad's playing here, let's just skip through a little bit. Cool. I don't know who sticks ads mid-fight. It's just a bit. Anyway, so we're here tipping a tippy-tappy, sort of ground and pound, keeping position. Similar in the first round, just have got position. He's very explosive. Don't rush, don't lose position whilst I'm winning. So I made crossed ankles under the arse as well, really killing the hips. What I'm really trying to do is get really high mount. So isolating this arm. He does well to squeeze out, to roll out of there. So now I'm in a bottom guard position. Straight away he's disengaged. And right now is a horrible little groin shot. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Goes for like a bit of a ground and pound or whatever. But there we are, ready for this right square in the bollocks. Oh, right in the cup. That was a ticklier one. So this is where it's a bit controversial, because I feel, although it's the end of the round, it's a groin shot, I should be 5 minutes still. I think, do they time? I think they've got a replay on it as well. Where is it? Oh no, just straight away. So here we are. I'd say first round, me confidently. Second round, you can kind of build a case. He had his moments, I had my moments. So just out of, I don't know, 10-9 me first round, maybe. I'll say Dante just for go against myself, just to make it a bit more fair. So a relatively even fight so far. I'm starting strong. Dante's getting his feet with it. So third round, I'm thinking, if I'm honest in here, I'm thinking I've dominated it. I'm thinking I'm comfy. If I can sell a decision, I've won it. But it's an interesting one. So where we are now, third round starting out, no touching gloves. Not too gas, but, you know, I'm safe. So guard's high, bit of feinting, a bit of twitching, a couple of calf kicks throwing out. Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of high kicks, a lot of like power shots. I'm not going to blast double on nothing. I've got to wait for a bite. So there we are. I've got a reaction. I've got a connection there. So we go back a second there. So again, I've got a bite. His hands are coming back. He's panicking. He's stepping back. These legs are together. He does well to get off center. That's the biggest thing there. So a lot of people, when they're getting taken down, they'll just try and sprawl dead flat. And if I keep going forward, I'm going to get you, especially with the fence though, to stand you back up. What Dante does really well is he comes off center. Because look, where we're here, if I keep driving, whether he's close to me or far away, we'll hit the fence and I'll catch up. but he comes off center really, really nicely. So now I'm chasing the single, get to the fence, and ideally just sort of work here for a bit longer, get a trip. It does well to get back to his feet. I've still got the double leg locked up. I think I take him down again. Oh no, okay, so I'm here, single leg, working for this still. Same dogfight position we were in a minute ago. Again, you know, he's doing really well. Get in a position here. He does well to collapse me. So where we were there, that's a nice one. Because obviously the fatigue, I'm not quite as explosive as I was earlier in the round. There's the overwrap. There's a dogfight. So where we are now is I've gone from a position where if I was to stand up and chase it, I'd have more success. But what Dante's doing now is sort of stacking me, keeping me off center. Because now, say it's like a guard. Now my guard's split. Now I'm side on as you would for like a knee cut kind of from the bottom position. Trying to regard. If I'm honest, right now I'm just trying to survive, trying to hold on whilst I'm feeling a bit sick, feeling a bit horrible. So then he stands up. And the first kick right now is where I get caught. So here we are. Bang, bink. I'm now getting knocked down. Again, it looks way worse than it is. It looks like I've been slept. It's just horrendous. Even then, it looks like I've died. But just fatigued, really. Just really fatigued. So what happens here is when he connects, so we'll go back a frame. We'll just try and click this a little bit. So if you watch the head kick, the guard is up. And I remember feeling like a little bruise or behind my ear because the nature of this guard, we'll say towards the camera, you can see where it defends and where there's a gap. And the nature of the long legs is sort of creep past that a little bit. So if you just go back just a little fraction of a frame. How if I get this a bit better? Let's try and get this just a little bit, a fraction better. So yeah, standing back up, here we are again. So the nature of this breakdown anyway, so we're here. Let's try and get this time as well. So you see the guard high, see the ear, but look, you see all that's exposed. He does really well to get in that specific spot. So the side of his foot, I didn't even really notice that the first time watching that, was the inside. I think so inside sort of heel bone, not heel, like the ankle sort of clips. And like, it's more you just get knocked off balance, so you got shoved. Because see, I'm already getting back to my feet. I've already got my hands down. I'm trying to climb back up. And he's kind of just pounced on me. So like, as much as it looks way worse than it is, a couple behind the head shots. But again, it's nothing too bad, but it's the volume. And it's a very fair stoppage. Because the way I'm explaining this now, it's going to sound very much making excuses, but it's not. In that moment, he got a very clean shot, knocked me off balance, and then pounced on me whilst I'm fatigued. So I'm not going to explode back up. And the ref, Paul Nichols, sees me getting dropped, sees me getting ground and pounded without being aggressively or being proactively defending it. So he's going to stop it. Absolutely fair. So yeah, kudos to Dante. Phenomenal performance. The fun fight in general, really. The nature of this fight for me, it's been a bit of it's an interesting one. So the last one against Paul McManus, getting the win, it was a very, how do I explain it? It was a tricky one. It was a position where I felt I should be happy, should be fulfilled. And frankly, I was embarrassed by the performance. It was too safe, too timid. Whereas this fight was a lot more showing off more what I can do, getting more out of the experience. Again, the whole day itself, feeling more composed in there, having fun with it, embracing it. And even when getting caught, I wasn't turning away, I wasn't whimpering away, I wasn't, flinching. I was a lot more present, a lot more like I belong there. And as much as I didn't get the end result in this fight, there's a lot more to it. I genuinely feel a lot more confident in my overall progression, where I'm going to be. And again, there's nothing on Dante, but it's more of an interesting sort of thing. You come across someone completely different styles and how they sort of pair up. Like that mount position, you wasn't seeing him getting out of it unless I made a mistake or tried to do something else. So maybe doing that early, maybe keeping that longer, maybe chasing it more aggressively. Who knows? But this is the nature of how these fights work. And Liam Shannon from Fight Academy Ireland talks about fighting like an MOT. Like you have a bit of a test, you see what needs work, what needs attention, and then you reset back to the drawing board. And although this is a fight, a big thing, it is also a reference point. It's a stepping stone to the next one. And like I say to everyone, whether the end goal is KFC, UFC, or somewhere in between, it's one fight at a time, progressive increments. But no, a huge thank you to everyone involved. Thank you to my corners, my team, BST. I do just appreciate all the support, really. Everyone's been fantastic, and it's been a fun experience. And on to the next one. I'm not too sure when it will be, what's going on, but training as normal and see what we see. So if we stop there, stop share, and then stop.